Welcome, friends. In the lecture series of automation and robotics, today I would like to focus on automation principles and strategies. See, in preceding discussions, we have discussed to conclude that automation is not always the right answer for a given production situation. You know that there are certain situations where we have to consider the automation technologies and we can apply these technologies, and while consideration of this we have to decide many factors on which a company can take the decision whether he has to go for the automation process or not. So, on the basis of these considerations and these things, there are three main approaches for dealing with the automation projects. The first one is the USA principle, second is 10 strategies for automation, and then last is the automation migration strategies. USA principle is basically stands for first U alphabet means understand the existing process. S stands for simplify the process, and A means automate the process. So this is basically a common sense of approach to automation and process improvement. So therefore, we can understand the existing process in the first step, and in this step, we have to use the USA approach to understand the current process in all of its detail. Means we have to consider the each and every steps of the process. And for example, what are the inputs? What are the outputs? What exactly happens to the work unit between input and output? What is the function of the process? How does it add values to the product? What are the upstream and downstream operations in the production sequence, and they can be combined with the process under consideration. If there is any type of combination can be done, then we have to combine these steps. And some of the basic tools which are used in the method analysis are very useful in this regard, such as the operation process chart and the flow process chart. So basically, the applications of these tools to the existing process provide a model of the process that can be analyzed and searched for weakness and strength. So the number of steps in the process and the number of uh, placement of the inspections and the number of moves and delays experienced by the work unit and the time spent in storage can be ascertained by these catering techniques. The next step comes here, that the simplify automate. Simplify means once the existing process is clearly understood, then the search can be begin for the ways to simplify. This basically involves a checklist of questions about the existing process. What is the purpose of this step or this transport? Means one can clearly find out that if and we have to perform certain steps or certain transport from work is one station to the another station, right? It takes a time. So basically, you have to clearly find out the answer that uh, if there is no purpose to shift any part from one place to the other place, we have to cut short this. Or we have to decide that is this step necessary or not? Can this step be eliminated? If it is eliminated, then eliminated. Does this step uses the most appropriate technology? Right? How can the steps be simplified? Can steps be integrated into a manually operated production lines? See, sometimes what happening, we use a partly automated system. Partly automation means, see what happening, there are some AGVs or some machineries which are like a CNC or NC machines which work on the programming. So therefore, we can transfer the part from one place to the another place, or some movement can be done manually along with the automated system. So These steps can be performed for the process, and some of the 10 strategies of automation and production system are basically applicable to try to simplify the process. And if it is combine these steps, it will be a great help for the system. Then there are 10 basically automation strategies on which we find out that uh, how to implement the things, or how to apply the automation systems. If the automation seems a feasible solution for improving productivity, quality, or other measure of performance, then the following 10 strategies provide a clear roadmap to search for these improvements. So we have to refer them as a strategy for automation and production systems, because some of them are applicable whether the process is a candidate for automation or just for its simplification. Because ultimate goal is to simplify the operations to save the time. So first one is the specialization of operations. Now in this case, what happening, because this is the first strategy where we use the special type of equipment which are designed to perform one operation with the greatest possible efficiency, right? So this techniques where we use the concept of labor specialization, which is employed to improve labor productivity. So we have to use some special type of machines in this case, and for this we can operate the machines for the special operations. So then next is the combined operations. Is sometimes what happening, uh, there is a unnecessary workstations which can be eliminated, or you can say if there are two or three operations which can be combined on a single machine, we have to combine these operations, because this will also reduce the time, and will further also reduce the workstation, because the movement of the part from one station to the another station is time consuming. So therefore, if the operations can be combined on a common machine, or the number of operation can be performed on a single machine, we have to plan this steps very carefully and can take the decision. Next is the simultaneous operations. See what happening, it is further basically reduced the total processing time. See what happening, where you know that the production occurs as a sequence of operations. So there are what happening, there are some complex parts also. Even sometimes we produce more than 100 and of the processing steps. So this strategy of combining operations involves reducing the number of distinct productions. Therefore, we can further reduce the time. Therefore, sometimes what happening, we have to use the simultaneous operations. Simultaneous operations means on the single machine we can perform more than one operation at a time or simultaneously. See, one tool is coming to, for example, cut the piece or part the piece, and second tool is coming to remove the material and performing the operation of the taper turning, or say for example threading, or any other type of operations. So what happening on a single machine, if there are two or three operations going on simultaneously, so this will further reduce the total processing time. Then next is the integration of operations. So what happening, we have a number of workstations in a plant, right? So therefore what happening, we can integrate all the workstations, and then on the basis of this we can get the information that after the integration, say for example, we can use the automated work handling devices to transfer parts between the workstations, and this will reduce the number of separate machines through which the product must be scheduled. And with the more than one workstation, several parts can be processed simultaneously. So it will further increasing the overall output of the system. Next is increased flexibility. See, to achieve max utilization of equipment, We have to use this strategy for job shop and medium volume situation by using the same equipment for a variety of parts or products. See what happening. Suppose if there is any possibility that the single machine can be used for 2 or 3 operations, we have to use and find out this flexibility, that if it can be performed, then we have to find out that automation will fulfill your requirement. Next is the improved material handling and storage. Since there are so many devices which are used to transfer the parts or handle the material, and from one station to the another station, for example, AGVs are used to move the parts or to move the goods from one place to the another place. So this can be done, and robots are also doing this duty. So therefore this can be further reduce the non-productive time. Storage also be controlled, or you can say it can be developed, connected with the your automation system, so that you can find out that the capacity can be easily judged, or can be find out that that how much material is kept in the storage. So therefore next step comes here, that online inspection. Online inspection means we have to find out the quality of the product. So what happening in this case, in the case of the ordinary operations, we have to first produce a part, and then there is an inspection section also. And in this section, a person is inspecting the parts, checking the parts. But what happening in the automation system, the correction of the process during the manufacturing is also doing it simultaneously. So what happening during the process, the machine will also find out if there is any error in the cutting or any process. What happening, it will give the information to the controller, and then controller will take the decision and find out the correction operations. So it is a basically, you can say, the self-corrected system where the things can be easily done. Next is the process control and optimization. See, basically this includes a wide range of control schemes which intended to operate the individual processes and associated equipment more efficiently. So with the help of this strategy, the individual process times can be reduced and the product quality will be improved here. Next is the plant operation and control. So control at the plant level means wherever this strategy was concerned with the control of the individual manufacturing process. This in the strategy is basically concerned with the control at the plant level. Basically, it attempts to manage the and coordinate the aggregate operations in the plant more efficiently. And its implementation usually involves a high level of computer networking within the factory. So this can be easily done, and the control system can work where you can control the operations. So last one is the computer integrated manufacturing, SIM. See, integration of factory operations, because there are so many machines where the operations are performing, and we have to consider that it involves the extensive use of computer applications, computer databases, and the computer networking throughout the plant or enterprise. So basically what happening, the all the operations are integrated. Okay, so means see what happening, if you see the plant arrangement, you will find out that there is some assembly shop, there are some welding shops, there are some, you can say, paint shop. So what happening, these all sections are also integrated. So you can find out, suppose sometimes what happening, you have to take the data from one station and refer this data to control the things on the previous section. It can be easily done. So these 10 strategies constitutes a checklist of the possibilities for improving the production system to the automation or simplification. So they should be considered as mutually extensive. For most situations, multiple strategies can be implemented in one improvement project. Now, the next is the automation migration strategy. See, for introduction of new product, there are basically three phases where we can perform the operations. One is the manual production using single station manned cells operating independently. Second phase is automated production using single station automated cells operating independently. Third phase is automated integrated production using a multi-station automated system with automated material handling. So in these three steps, what happening in the first step, which is used for introduction of the new product for reason already, which I have mentioned that the quick and low cost tooling to get started. And in the phase two, where the automated production using single station automated cell operating independently, this basically demands for the product grows and it becomes clear that automation can be justified, then the single stations can uh, automate it, which will reduce the labor and increase the production rate. So in this case, the work units are still moved between the workstation manually. There is some manual part also there, and it can be understand that it is a partial automation system. First one is the manual operated system. The second one is the partly automated production system. Where the third phase comes, where we can integrate the production with the help of automation system. So because in this case, there are a number of operations or serial operations and automated transfer of work unit between stations. So when the company is certain that the product will be produced in mass quantity and for several years, then integration of a single station automated cell is warranted to further reduce labor and increase production rate. So these strategies are presented in this diagram where one can understand. And in this diagram is basically you can say that it is a manufacturing where the system can perform its operations, and it is well managed manufacturing companies which have policies like the automation migration strategies. So they have their own advantages. For example, such as the which strategies include that it allows introduction of a new product in a shortest possible time. So since production cells based on manual workstations are easiest to design and implement, because suppose what happening, so there is any change which is coming and in the part, then it can be easily done because all these operations are manually. So that there is no need to use a separate time for the programming or any change in the system. We can easily handle the things, or we can easily handle the situations. So basically it allows the automation which is to be introduced gradually, or you can say in the plant phases, which is in the demand for the product grows. Engineering changes in the product are made and the time is allowed to go through the design job on the automated manufacturing system. Basically, it avoids the commitment to a high level of automation from the start, since there is always risk that demands for the product which will not justify it. Therefore, you can see here that in the first diagram where the part is moving from the one end and it is completed at the end of this, you can say that all these workstations. So you can observe here that there are a number of workers which are working for the processing of the part, whereas the workstation are totally manual. Whereas in the next case, you will find out that the part movement is slightly automated, and this is automated workstations. So therefore, there are some persons who are involved here for the manual handling system, and the process is, you can say that it is slightly automated. In the third phase, where automated integrated production with automated handling between the stations, because this will also reduce the delay time, and can easily find out that if the job is over in the previous station, then command can be done. And on the basis of the command, the part can be moved automatically on the next system. So there are very less interaction of the human being. You can observe here that in the last stage, so that all these stations are connected. Therefore, you will find out that in this case, the production is very high, right? So if you can observe here that in the case of manual productions and automated integrated productions, when there is a large demand, the automated integrated production will get will give you the you justified operations or its performance. Now, there are some basic elements of the automated system where we have to use. First is the power source. Power source is basically needed to run any device, whether it is mechanical, hydraulic, or pneumatic. So basically, when we are talking about a power source, first power source is the electrical power. So electrical power is basically converted into mechanical, hydraulic, and pneumatics. So they are basically in the industry or in any operations, we have to perform basically two operations, two actions. One is the processing and the second is the transfer and positioning. So these two things can be done with the help of the source of power. Next is the control system. Control system is basically to actuate the instructions. So in this case, we have to use some sensors, analyzers, actuators like a cylinder, solenoid, relays, drives, motors, stepper motor, DC servo motor, and kinematic linkages. So these things can be used in a control system. Next, which is very important element of the automated system, is a program. Program is a set of instructions which are used to direct the process or to start the process. And because you have already gone through a NC part programming or CNC part programming, in this programming you have to write down a program and your machine will execute on the basis of your program. So this is basically very important for the automated system. Okay, you know that the electricity is the principle of power source, so you know that it is widely available and can be converted easily to alternate forms. For example, mechanical, say in the case of motor, you will find out the electricity is converted into torque or the mechanical output. Sometimes we need a thermal in the case of your this heating devices or some furnace also, where we require the electricity is converted into heat, sometimes a light also. So therefore, in some cases where we required a low level of power, for example, signal transmission system, data processing and communication. So that can be easily done with the help of the power source, or there we can use the transformers to convert a high power source to high power to the low power. And another advantage of the electricity is it can be easily stored in the battery or can be used as a power backup, right? So long life batteries are used to as a power backup, and this electricity can be uh, easily taken and stored and reused for the operations. Then again, if we understand to power which is accomplished to the automated process, so power for the process, I mean, the first one is the drive the process itself. Means there is a important thing is if the power is used to run the system or to run the program, it can be, or to run the motors also. So this is used to drive the electrical systems. And the next is the load and unload the work unit. This can be done with the help of the industrial robots, where the robots are also run with the help of the electricity or power, and mainly the pick and place robot. where the load we can load the and unload the work on the machines. So next is the transport between the operations. See, one operation is completed, it needs to be moved the part very quickly to the another station for the next operations. So the transport is also done with the help of the power, where we can use the AGVs and conveyor belts which are run on the basis of the electricity. Next is the power for automation. Means controller unit required a power, and sometimes power is also used to actuate the control signals, data acquisition and information processes. Then as I told you, the program of instructions. As you know that these are the basically a program is a set of commands that is specify the sequence of steps in the work cycle and the details of each steps. For example, in the case of CNC part programming, and what happening, we have to use these sequence of operations and which are written in the form of a program, and these program will be executed, and machine will work on the basis of the written program. Okay, control system is not new for you. This are two types of control systems. One is the closed loop or feedback control system. Second one is the open loop control system. See, closed loop system, when we compare the output with the input parameters, and if there is any difference or error between the two, can be easily controlled, right? Can be compared and controlled. So in the case of open loop control system, it is just opposite to the closed loop system, where the output is not compared with the input. Means output is independent. It based on simply input. But if there is any error, the machine has to sacrifice with it. So it is basically simpler and less expensive. Therefore, it is used in some cases. But wherever it is required, for example, there is a risk that the actuator will not have the intended effect. It means, for actuator means, for example, a hydraulic actuator or a pneumatic actuator, where we use the air to actuate the uh, element or any connected element. This is simply not with respect to the input. Therefore, open control system is very simple and is can be used. But the major deficiency is, or major drawback associated with the system is that if there is any error, then it cannot be controlled. Okay, this is a systematic diagram of the feedback control system. This is a very interesting and very simple, that we have to give the input parameter to the controller, and controller will give the instructions to the actuator and control the things, and then actuator will control the process, or actuator will further give the movement of the elements that the process can be done. Or the, if suppose for example, if we take example of a tool of the lathe machine, right? And if there is any controller which can control the speed of the shaft, or the feed rate of the tool, then if these parameters can be controlled, you will find out a good surface finish of the part. So it depends upon the requirement, that what is the requirement. On the basis of this, we have to set and find out the output variable, and this output variable can be compared with the help of a feedback sensor, and this feedback sensor will sense the thing and give the input to the controller, and controller will again control the things, and actuator will control the process, right? Actuator will give the basically it is a controlled motion and of the tool, and then the process will be controlled. Whereas in the case of open loops control system, it cannot be done. The output is not governed with the input parameter. Whatever input is given, you will get the output. Okay, this is another example which I have taken to understand that, because this example will be very useful to understand that how the things are going on. Suppose we have to control two things. while cutting any operation. One is the work table on which we have to set our workpiece or clamp our workpiece, whereas the second is the basically the tool movement. Okay, so if tool is fixed and if we are moving the work table, then we have to control the motion of the work table. What happening in this case? We are using a lead screw, and this lead screw is coupled with a DC servo motor, and this DC servo motor is controlled by the controller, right? So on the basis of the input value, and we have to measure the output of the work table with the help of a optical encoder. Optical encoder will read or sense the motion of the lead screw. So this will work as a feedback sensor, and it will sense the information, sense the output, and give to the controller, right? So if the work table is moving at a very fast speed rate, or you can say that if the work table is not moving at your desired rate, or which is prescribed, which is required, right, we have to change the value of input, and this can be done with the help of a feedback system, and this will give to the controller, and this will control the DC servo motor. So thank you very much.